Hey, welcome on the spot. Today I'm here with Kyle Waters, a friend of mine in the elementary school days growing up together. He works for the Seattle Storm out in WNBA, and he's a guest on the podcast today on the spot. So, Kyle, you ready to get started? Go ahead, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Kyle Waters. I'm the Chief Sales Officer for the four-time WNBA champion Seattle Storm. That's what I do professionally now. I grew up with Steven in Pleasanton, California. We played Little League Baseball together, played for the same coach. Actually,
Yeah,
your dad, one of the nicest, most amazing guys I've ever had the privilege of getting to play baseball for. But yeah, born and raised Pleasanton, California. Went to college at University of Oregon. I studied sports marketing for 4 years. I've worked for the football team, did recruiting, scouting for the football program at the Ducks. And then immediately after college, I joined the Seattle Supersonics and the Storm. They were both connected, the NBA and WNBA. And then when the Supersonics moved to Oklahoma City, I stayed in Seattle with the Storm and helped kind of build the ticket sales and service department to what it is now over all these years. So the Sonics is what lured me in. And then after getting in this organization, I chose to not go to Oklahoma. I wanted to stay here in Seattle, and I've made a career of working in the WNBA, and that's kind of how I got to where I'm at.
nice. Good story and good feedback. Thanks for mentioning my dad and stuff. Good memories with coaching and stuff. So, you ready for the questions? All right, we'll start them off. So, what's your thought on real estate marketing in the Seattle area? But what are your thoughts on that? And, what do you think as far as you living there and stuff,
Yeah, so I think from my perspective, I think it's a good time to buy. I think it's a good time to be a buyer, from my point of view. I mean, based on what I've read, sometimes it's kind of like a stalemate in terms of like what the buyers are willing to pay versus how much the sellers are asking for. And I just think right now, I think the buyers have a little bit more of an edge right now than the sellers do. So if
Yeah.
I was, I'd be a buyer. And then from my point of view, I know like I've had my house for over 10 years now. And I think we got a really good price on our house because we bought when the weather wasn't as nice. Like we bought when, it was cold and raining and it's not as
Yeah.
much of an attractive place to go time to go to like those open houses and whatnot. And it was kind of a tight window to buy.
Yeah.
So I do think if you can hold off and wait until the weather maybe is not so nice, I think then you
Yeah.
can maybe have less competition. So that's just another opinion I have. If you have some more time, maybe wait, whatever. But in
Yeah.
general, I think right now the buyers have the edge over the sellers.
Yeah, good thoughts, and I think you're correct. Right now, it supports the buyers, but good feedback on that. Let me ask you this: you got a quote that you want to share with us?
Yeah, all right. So I got so many quotes, but one that I like a lot is, John Wooden, uh, be quick, but don't hurry.
Okay, go on.
It applies to a lot of things. It could apply right back to the housing market, but also
Yeah,
in a lot of things we do, business, because like sense of urgency is really important, but there's also like a balance to everything, and it's hard to find words for that. So I like the quote, "Be quick, but don't hurry."
got it. Go on. Let me ask you this: what show you watching nowadays on Netflix or Apple or so? What are you
Yeah,
watching nowadays?
I'm completely caught up on all of Cobra Kai.
Okay,
So like
Karate
I
Kid.
when I,
Okay,
we grew up like in the 80s, right, with
yeah,
Karate Kid, and I
Ninja
kind of
Turtles.
like that Johnny Lawrence has come back as the good guy.
Okay,
And so I like Cobra Kai a lot and all
yeah,
the characters on that show. I feel like I identify the most with Johnny Lawrence. I as a kid, I always kind of thought that I identified with Miyagi Do.
okay,
Um, and all that. But then as they've kind of gotten older and learned stuff, I love the spin on Cobra Kai.
got it. Yeah, I'll check that out. I maybe saw a couple episodes, but not too lot. I gotta get into it and maybe check it out again. Let me ask you this: who's on your basketball Mount Rushmore? Dude,
Well, there's so many. I guess Mount
yeah,
Rushmore is what, like four,
yeah, four guys.
five.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll go men and women since I work for the
Okay,
WNBA. I'll
okay,
combo it.
okay.
So Michael Jordan, and then I go Seattle Storm had a legendary player here, Sue Bird. And so
Yeah, yeah.
because I'm biased to her, she won
Okay,
all four championships here. So I'll go Michael Jordan, Sue Bird. I'm gonna go with I gotta stay Seattle. I'll just keep it biased and go Gary Payton and Sean Kemp.
yeah, okay. What about Sabrina and Caitlin Clark? Are they up there? Yeah.
Yeah,
For
they're
women.
both younger, right? They're
Yeah.
both younger. So
Yeah.
if they're already towards the end of their careers, I'd go ahead and put them up. But
Yeah.
since they're both younger, Caitlin Clark entering her second year, Sabrina's still like, I don't know, fourth, fifth year, they're going to get up there for sure. But since they're still young in age and still got a lot of basketball left in them, I'll save that for a future Mount Rushmore question, maybe about 10 years from now.
Okay. Let me ask you this: who's your pick to win the finals this year? Who you like so far in the playoffs? Have you been watching a little bit? Who you like the NBA playoffs? Who you like?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I'll tell you, I liked past tense the Celtics. They're
Yeah.
down 0-2 right now to New York. So I'm feeling a little bit less on that right now. Who we got left in Western Conference? We got
Good.
Nuggets, Wolves.
You still pull
Okay,
for the Warriors or no? You still Warrior? Well, not
I'm
really.
so I'm rooting for the Warriors. So
Yeah.
my heart is with the Warriors. I'm rooting for the Warriors. I think it's a tall task.
Yeah.
And then the Pacers are playing really well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be really bold here, and
Uh,
I'm going to predict that the Boston Celtics come back.
okay.
They're down 0-2 versus New York.
Yeah.
Seems like a crazy pick, but I'm going to stick with Boston to come back from down 0-2 to beat New York, maybe in 6 or 7. And then I think Boston's going to win the whole thing after overcoming New York, which is probably a low probability pick right now.
Gotcha. Yeah. Good one. We'll see what happens. And I'm guessing you guys are getting a team maybe in the next few years for NBA again. That's what's in the I keep
Yeah, I
hearing.
think that's the
So
vibe here. We've got the arena. So we've got a
yeah.
brand new arena, Climate Pledge Arena, that's been around now for like 4 years.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal place for basketball. All the fans want it. So I'm confident that
See how it
that
comes
they're gonna
back.
come back. It's just a matter of time. I think it'll be within the next few years.
Cool. Let me ask you this: what's something you did in the pandemic that you didn't do before that carried over?
So I got back into sports card collecting.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I was a little kid, like 80s, 90s, I was really big into, like buying like hobby boxes, like baseball cards and all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
fun stuff, collecting like
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr., rookie cards, all that fun. And then I went about, once I got into like high school and then through college and then post grad, I got out of card collecting. I just thought that was something I only did as a kid. And then during the pandemic, I got bored and started like realizing there was a local card shop nearby my home, and I got back into like the eBay and like being able to like grade cards and
Yeah.
open
Is
up
it all pro
packs. And
sports cards or what was it called? Or no?
we have a place in Edmonds called World of Comics, Games, and
Okay.
Collections.
Gotcha.
And so I bought like a hobby box for cheap, like for $100, and then I got inside a rare Justin Herbert
Nice.
like gold autograph card numbered to 10, and then
Yeah.
found out it was worth like a few $1,000s, and I
Nice.
decided that this is actually a really fun hobby, and it got me back into it, and I've actually been doing it again now ever since.
What are some cards you have that are I guess the most highest in your collection? Do you have a couple you want to rattle off?
Yeah, so I think most of my most valuable cards are the Justin Herbert rookie autograph cards
Yeah.
from his rookie year, which was coincidentally like right during the pandemic.
Okay.
I've got a Contenders auto graded PSA 10, auto 10, numbered to 99
Yeah.
that I think is worth like a few $1,000s. And that's probably my best card. So I got like a handful of cards that are worth somewhere between like $2,000 to $3,000 each.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are the best ones I've got. I don't have anything like crazy, crazy. Like some people got these like LeBrons or Kobe Bryants that you
Yeah.
could like buy a house with or something. But I've got a lot of good ones, but nothing huge. But yeah, basically some of these cars are worth like 2 to 3 grand.
Nice. Let me ask you this: what's your dream car, and what do you think about the EV car?
To be honest, like I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to hear what you think about
Yeah.
it.
The EV car.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
There's not a lot of stations where you can charge your car, and there's some, but you got to wait, and the first ones take about 45 an hour, so you're waiting there, while gas takes less than 5 minutes if you do it right. So there's just not many charging stations, and when you go places, you got to figure out where I'm going to find one, and if you're not, great at it, you can be looking at your thing being stressed out. Where's the next charging station, next start, So there's
Yeah.
that. You got to get the home charging station if you have it. So, but that's how I think about it. We're just not there yet. There's not the charging gas stations yet, but they need those. Yeah. And that's
Got
just
you.
out here.
Yeah. And
So,
whatever my dream car is, I definitely
yeah.
haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah.
So I need to
Okay.
do some research. I've got like I've got a Hyundai Palisade now that I like a
Yeah.
lot.
Oh,
It's a
those are nice.
7-seater
Yeah.
calligraphy.
Okay.
So that's pretty new, but I've got
Yeah.
three kids, a sixth grader and two fourth graders. So we need it for like getting them around to like
Yeah. Yeah.
their
Especially the
sports and all
sports.
that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Totally. Cool. Let me ask you this. You got a favorite field trip that sticks out to you that you went on back in the day?
Like when we were younger,
Yeah.
Alcatraz.
Okay.
I remember going to Alcatraz, and getting to like go in like those jail cells,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
imagine like what it would like be like to be a prisoner in there, and you learn about like
Yeah.
what the escape, right? And like
Yeah.
there's still the question of, did they really successfully escape,
Yeah.
or did they not make it? Because it seems like impossible that they made it, but they never recovered them. So you wonder if those guys like actually got out and lived to be old men, just
Yeah.
hiding somewhere and kept the secret forever, or if they're somewhere under the water,
Yeah.
But I was fascinated by that field trip because, usually those field trips you go on are not, nothing edgy like that. And
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool to go to like a prison on an island. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you hear about Trump? He wants to reopen it again and have it as a prison. You hear about that?
No,
Yeah, that was the
no.
latest in the news this week. He wants to maybe reopen it again and have it be another federal prison. So we'll see.
That's fair. One time
Yeah.
there was another time I went back with my mom to
Yeah.
Alcatraz, not on the field trip day, but another day.
Yeah.
And we were coincidentally there the same day they were filming The Rock
Oh, nice.
with Nicolas Cage
Yeah.
and Sean Connery.
Yeah.
That ended up actually being a pretty good movie, but they filmed a movie there, The Rock, as well. Did you
So
see
they
that
had.
movie?
Yeah, I saw that. So it was part of the line like blocked off, so you couldn't go over there.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where the tour guide's like showing you around, and then it's like apologizing, but it's also kind of cool because they're like,
Yeah.
"We're so sorry, you can't actually go to this side of the island today. Normally we would allow it, but as you can see with all the cameras and everything, we're actually having a movie filmed. So you have to stay on this side, but can't go on that side today." And then, you could see like the actors and all that stuff. So it's interesting because they hybrided it, like they
Yeah.
continued to let the tours happen, but it kind of reminded me of like going to like Universal Studios or something, like a backlot tour.
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Oh, normally we would take you on this path, but as you can see, we're actually filming a live movie right now."
Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of stuck with me, and that's another thing I think about that Alcatraz.
Nice. Ask you this: what age would you want to go back to and live at if you could? What would you go back to?
I think I really liked like 1993, which I was like 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
Remember that age when like all the sports teams in the Bay Area were dominant?
The
Like
Niners.
the Niners were winning Super Bowls with whether it was Joe Montana, then it was Steve Young,
Yeah.
but it was like Jerry Rice. That when the Niners were dominant, like, and then because then at the same time the A's or the Giants were always really good.
Yeah. Yeah. McGuire, Canseco, Bash
Yeah,
Brothers.
the Bash Brothers.
Yeah.
So it just felt like every year as a kid,
Yeah.
we had a pro sports team in the Bay Area winning championships,
Yeah.
And
Right.
and as a kid, at that time, age, I just kind of viewed like it was us against the world, like
Yeah.
our teams were the good guys,
Hmm.
and then all the other teams must be the bad guys. Now, as I've gotten older and like working in pro sports, now I realize they're pretty much all just good guys. Just
Yeah.
people living their lives and stuff. But when I was a little kid, I definitely thought it was good versus evil, and
Yeah.
like our teams were always winning the whole thing and something. So I like that era, like late 80s, early 90s. I think we're somewhere around like 10 to 12 years old when we were just like winning pennants and championships. It felt like in everything.
Yeah. No, I remember those days totally with TMC, and you had the whole Nelly Ball and a lot
The
of stuff.
Giants were good. They had Will Clark and
Yeah. Matt Williams,
Robbie Thompson, Kevin
and
Mitchell
Ron
was
Beck.
pretty good. for a bit.
Brought
Yeah,
back.
brought back the closer. Yeah.
A lot of
I remember
memories.
they asked him one time, like, why is it that you never like pull a muscle or like get hurt? Because he never was out. He was always
Yeah.
healthy. And he told the media you can't pull fat. Like that was his quote as to why he never had any muscle tightness.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a
Cool.
great closer.
He was. He died young. Crazy.
Yeah, but
It was
yeah, he
sad.
definitely made his mark.
He did.
I think he's the best closer of all time for the Giants. And the A's, we had Eckersley. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's ever been a better closer than Eckersley for the
Yeah.
A's.
Cool. Let me ask you this. You grew up in the millennial generation, right? Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the tech and stuff? You know, how we kind of grew up with it. Now the kids nowadays have it and
Yeah.
ChatGPT and stuff. What do you think about all that stuff?
I got mixed feelings about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I recently saw an image of a bunch of people all at a concert and all of them just had like their phones out and they're just
Yeah.
all recording it. It's
Yeah.
almost as if they're forgetting to just enjoy the real moment for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And instead they're just trying to capture it so they can show everyone else like in a virtual world, like,
Yeah.
that they were there. So I'm a little bit concerned that we run the risk of how do I say, like not fully enjoying the real life moments because we're busy trying to capture it on our phones.
Yeah.
So that's one of the issues I have. I mean, the other thing too is like there's some good in it. For
Yeah.
example, if it wasn't for social media and the ability to connect virtually, you and I would not be on here today.
You're right.
And I think it's
Point.
wonderful that you and I are connecting after so many years since it's been a while.
Yeah.
So technology is good for like how it connects people that maybe fall out of touch with each other for geographical reasons. At the same time, I think maybe it's a little too much if for like locally, if it's like people that you see all the time in real life and everything, then why do you
Yeah.
why do you gotta like show them stuff on Instagram or whatever if you're already like with each other in real life anyways?
Yeah. Yeah. Good thoughts. Good thoughts on that. Good perspective. Let me ask you this one. What's your favorite movie that you've seen recently that you liked, or good or
Favorite
bad?
movie?
Yeah, that you've seen recently, or if not,
I've seen a
what's your
lot
favorite
of
movie?
them that
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah. What sticks out to you?
One that jumps to my mind, I like the recent Gladiator movie. So it's like
I saw that. That was good. Yeah.
yeah. The first one I've seen like over 100 times. I can never see that movie enough. Every time
That came out during our high school years.
yeah, it's like if it's on like TNT or TBS or whatever, I'm watching
Yeah,
like
you want to
cable
stop
TV
and
and I'm
watch
just
it.
flipping
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, I'm like, okay, well this is where I'm staying.
Yeah.
I can never get enough of it. And then I think because of my loyalty to that, I enjoyed the sequel.
Yeah.
I feel similar about like Back to the Future, like whether it's the first one or the second one. If it's on, I'm hooked. Like Michael J. Fox, like that stuff.
Yeah.
The third one I could do without. The train one, the time travel to the Wild Wild West. That third one was I didn't think that was so great, but
Yeah.
both the two Back to the Future movies, and then for me both Gladiator movies. I guess not sure if they're going to make a third Gladiator or not.
The way it ended, it sounded like they could do another one. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe with how the ending was. They could do something. What are your thoughts on that water scene with the boats and stuff? How they flooded the Coliseum? What do you think about that?
It was. I mean, it played its role in the trailer, and
Yeah.
it was part of like what like build the hype for watching that movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to admit, I thought it was awesome. Yeah. What did you think?
I kind of did some research after that and I looked it up. I guess they did flood the Coliseum. Now, to have the sharks in there, that was kind of probably fake, but just to have that whole thing of you flood a thing and have ships in there was kind of cool. So they really thought outside the box of how to entertain people. So that was kind of.
So the first one they had like the tigers, right? They pulled the tigers out with the chains.
Yeah.
The water and sharks. That I have to admit that was an upgrade.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was. So are you an Apple or Android guy?
Apple.
Okay. What do you think about the green bubbles when you see them pop up? What's your thoughts?
For a long time, I didn't know what it meant.
What it was.
Yeah, I was like, why? How come sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's green? It wasn't until like a few years ago that I realized that was the difference between Apple and Android.
Yeah.
So I find that most people have Apple. And like in customer
Yeah.
service, like I deal with customers all day with phones and like sending them like their mobile digital tickets for sporting events and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
think most people have the Apple for the most part.
Yeah.
And then every now and again, like if there's a customer service issue or whatever, sometimes I run into like an issue here or there where it's like, oh wait, you're on an Android. Okay, let's revisit how to fix this like mobile ticketing thing for you or whatever. So I'm more pro Apple. That's what I use. I'm also a T-Mobile guy. So I'm
Okay.
T-Mobile. Yeah, how about you?
I'm an Apple guy. I'm on AT&T. I've just been Apple for the most part. After BlackBerry, but it's user friendly. You're able to clients and stuff and talk with people. It's easier to use. It's
Yeah,
simpler, less
that's what I
confusion.
think.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Let me ask you this: you want to share a life tip or business tip with my listeners and success tip and see what they.
Yeah. I mean, I know you asked me like for a quote earlier. Another one
Yeah.
that I believe in is that
Yeah.
life's a marathon, it's not a sprint, So
Yeah. That's good.
sometimes it's not just about doing what gets you a reward tomorrow. Maybe
Yeah.
sometimes it's about putting in the work and effort, making decisions that in the short term, maybe they don't give you that like immediate payoff.
Yeah.
But I do believe if you keep your eyes on the prize and you work towards your long term goals,
Yeah.
just stay with it. And it's just a matter of time. Never give up.
Yeah.
As long as you keep going, eventually you're going to get to where you're trying to get to. Just don't give up and view it as a marathon, not a sprint.
Good one. Good thoughts on that. Let me ask you this: who would you want to sit down and eat with, dead or alive? If you could pick somebody. Who would it be?
Gosh, I would have wanted to meet Walter Payton,
Yeah.
running back for the Bears, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things I love about Walter Payton, he said something that stuck with me. I think it was John Madden, Pleasanton, John Madden,
Yeah. Yeah.
that asked Walter Payton, what would be your dream play? Like if you
Okay.
could, what would be the most magical, amazing play that you dream about?
Yeah.
And Walter Payton said, I dream about a game in which I had a lot of rushing yards and I was a nightmare for the defense. And then when it came down to the end of the game, the defense was all worried about me. And so they honed in on me. And as a result of that, my quarterback is able to hit a wide receiver wide open in the end zone for a touchdown. And all the glory goes to my teammates. And I know that it was the grit that I put in and the sacrifice that I put in for my team that resulted in that magic moment for them and for them to have the glory because that's what being a good teammate's all about. That one stuck with me for ever since I heard it. I heard it when I was like in high school or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. What a way to think about it as a teammate. A lot of people say their dream play would be they make the winning shot at the buzzer
Yeah.
and they're right, or they, a lot of people want to make the play, be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And I love Walter Payton's unique answer that he would rather have his teammates enjoy that moment and
Yeah.
he know that he helped create it for them.
Okay. Good one. That's a good story. Throwing John Madden there too, Pleasant Legend and stuff, and he's R.I.P. to John Madden. But he especially that Madden game and stuff. But yeah, a lot of stuff with him.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: if you're stuck on an elevator, who do you want to be stuck in an elevator with?
That's I definitely wouldn't want to be stuck on an elevator.
Yeah.
Golly, that's a tough one. I'm gonna like have such a cop out answer. My wife.
Okay. I've heard that one
Yeah,
before though, so
yeah.
maybe it's how you get out.
Yeah, she probably know how to like what
Yeah.
to do because I when things are hard and we're stuck in a bad situation,
Yeah.
she's kind of the clutch one, so
Gotcha.
I'll go with her. Yeah.
Okay. Who's your favorite sportsman player? You mentioned a lot of Bay Area legends and stuff. Who's your top team and player?
Favorite Bay Area player?
It could be all over. I don't know. I mean, you named a
Yeah,
bunch earlier, but who sticks out? What team? And
that one's tough. So it doesn't have to be Bay Area.
no, it doesn't have to be.
So there's a player I met that I view as like a hero, a legend, Ernie Banks,
Yeah.
Chicago Cubs, Mr. Cub.
Okay.
I met him when I was like a little kid in Chicago. He was a retired baseball player at the time,
Yeah.
but I think while he played before I was able to watch. I just love how he carried himself like post career. He was always just
Yeah.
talking about gratitude and power of appreciation and his love for God and
Yeah.
like his whole talk. Like, he was one of those guys that like every day he's like, aren't we just so lucky to be alive today? You
Yeah.
know, like take a moment just to like take it in. I love those kind of legend, like hero guys, role models, especially they're a lot older than us that
Yeah.
just kind of look at us as like young guys and they're like, hey, you know, you got so much life ahead of you and don't take it for granted and love every moment. And for that reason, he's one of my favorite athletes because he has he had a lot of soul. He's another guy that, you know, passed away a while back because, you know, he's a bit older and played before our time. But I think he's a legend. And he was one of the best Major League Baseball players of all time for those people that got to witness him play
Yeah.
in Chicago. I think it was like in the maybe like in the 60s, about 20 years or so before we were born.
Yeah. Did you ever see a Cubs game at Wrigley Field then? You saw that? You saw a game? No.
I've never
Okay.
been to Wrigley Field. It's
Okay.
on the bucket list.
Okay.
I've seen them come to San Francisco and
Yeah.
I've seen them in Seattle. I've never seen the Cubs play on their home field.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this. Who's your favorite wrestler? Do you have one growing up that you watched?
I mean, growing up, we're all about Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
He was the good guy, pretty much. Remember, they had like the movie
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
he took on that dude with the Z. Forgot what the movie was
Yeah. What was
called.
that called?
No Holds Bar. Yeah. So I grew up with
Hulk
the Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan thing. Remember we used to have like an ice cream truck? Like the ice cream truck would come
That's right.
to
It
our
had the
school.
wrestling ice creams.
Remember those? It was the
Yeah.
ice cream. It was the ice cream sandwich thing, but it was like
That's
a
right.
vanilla style, and it had all those WWF wrestlers.
Yeah.
So
No,
I was all
that's
for Hulk, and I even had that set, you know, like the rink
yeah.
that
Yeah.
you could play with those action figures,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
and
nice.
the
Yeah.
video game too. I used to play the video game.
Yeah. That was, man, a lot of memories. Wow.
Yeah. I also liked Andre the Giant too. I liked Andre the.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah. Let me ask you this: what advice would you give yourself at 12 years old?
I think I would say aim high,
Yeah.
shoot for the stars. Uh, there's no shame in trying and failing. You know,
Yeah.
it's better to try and fail than to not try at all.
Yeah.
So it's okay. You could do nothing with your life and tell yourself at least you didn't, you know, have any misses or whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's kind of better to go at it like what Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, these guys, you know, say like, you know, we miss every shot we don't take. So I think it's better to try and fail than to not try at all.
Yeah.
So I think just go for it. Your biggest regret will be the things that you never tried doing. You'll never regret trying something and coming up short. You just learn from it.
That's good thoughts. Good points. Let me ask you this: so, how long you been a homeowner for, and what do you like about the city you live in? Yeah.
So I've been a homeowner since 2000. I'm in Edmonds, Washington. It's about 20 minutes north of Seattle, and I love it. We got our house for, you know, about half, maybe one third of the price of what it would cost for the same house in Seattle.
Yeah.
Just to be like 20 minutes north of it. Got a real nice backyard, close to like the water and the ferry. My kids go to public schools that are safe and they really like a lot. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like that Pleasanton type feel. We have like a
Yeah.
downtown that's real nice and cool and safe. So yeah, Edmonds, Washington. It's if you ever watch Jeopardy, there's like Ken Jennings. He's the
Yeah. Yeah.
all-time Jeopardy champion. He now hosts the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's from Edmonds.
Oh, okay.
This is his hometown.
Nice.
Also, Anna Faris. She was
Okay.
the gal that was like with Chris Pratt for a long time.
Yeah.
She was in all like the scary movies, House Bunny.
Yeah.
She grew up going through like these same schools in Edmonds that my kids are going to. We have a few different like celebrities that come from this town I live in now as well.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I gotta check it out town sometime. Check it out. I go up there. You know.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. You ever come up to Seattle? You've been here in a
I
while?
haven't been there yet. No, I just know it rains a lot.
Yeah,
And then, but it's rained here, I think, a couple of years more than there. So I know it rains. It's cloudy a lot, I heard. So yeah, everything's
Yeah,
green
it's
there.
beautiful. This is one of, I think, the best places to be in the summer.
Okay.
Lots of, because of all the rain during the other time of the year, it makes everything beautiful out here. You know, all the green, the grass,
Yeah.
and also we have a lot of water out here, boats and Space Needle and all that. And like, I think Seattle's got to be one of the best places to visit in the summer.
Yeah.
If you've never made it up here to the Pacific Northwest, I would aim for like July, August. It's beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. I'll check it out. Okay. If you weren't doing your current job, sales tickets and all that, working for the Seattle Storm, what would you be doing for work?
I thought probably I'd want to be a teacher. I was thinking, and I don't know what level,
Yeah.
elementary school, middle school. I think I'd be more, my heart's more about the kids, I think. So
Yeah.
I daydream sometimes about what if I was like an elementary school teacher, and then I would strive to be the kind of teacher that we would want to have. Like
Yeah.
I think that's how we do a lot of things in our lives. We grow up as kids and we see how adults act.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think when we're most in tune with our souls and our hearts and minds is when we realize, like, okay, go back to like when we were kids and we remember how we viewed adults. How can we try to be the adults that we always like told ourselves when we were little that we
Yeah.
want to be like that? Now that I'm an adult, now I recognize, now I relate to all the adult things. Now I under, like I go home and my kids are like, "Hey, can we go play like ball in the backyard?" And I'm like, "No, I'm tired. Like I just had a
Yeah.
hard day at work. I just want to lie down, and watch some TV." And I remember when I
Yeah.
was little, I get like so angry when my dad would do that. Like, dude, you've
Yeah.
been gone all day and like now we can play ball and you're too tired.
Yeah.
Like, what's so hard about your job? I had school. I'm not tired. But now, because I'm an adult, I realize I'm doing like the same things as my parents used to do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this reset. Like, oh yeah, I got to remember like how I used to feel when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I think it's everything. Being a teacher, being a parent. Like I think when we're like really in tune with our self-awareness, we remember like we have an opportunity to be who we told ourselves we wanted to be when we get older. And I think we lose sight of that sometimes. So that's just a personal belief I have. I shouldn't say we. I mean, I can only speak for myself. For myself, sometimes I got to remind myself, Kyle, remember when you were like 12 years old? Who did you want to be when you were 42? So I don't know. I think I kind of done it because I'm working in a job I like. Like I'm glad I'm working in sports and it's fun and trying to like get trips to the White House, winning championships and trophies, rings, and
Have you been
so
to the
I'm
White
pretty
House yet?
proud that I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
You've been there once, White House?
Yeah, I met President Biden. Yeah, I went to
Okay.
so I got invited with our basketball team. I was invited by President Biden to the White House. I got to meet him, and
Okay.
he invited us into the Oval Office, gave us all chocolate chip cookies. Kind of felt like I was, it was a real like grandfather type moment. I mean,
Wow.
he he
That's cool,
um
man.
he was super nice to us, treated us all like we're like kids. We're all like in like our these our players are in their 20s. But we
Yeah.
even but like he's definitely the guy is like full of life, full of wisdom. And this was only like what 4 or 5 years ago or so. I'll definitely remember it for the rest of my life because politics aside, like whether you're on one side of the spectrum, the other side of the spectrum, on all that stuff, no matter what, like it's just cool meeting, in my opinion, just meeting the president that runs the country. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's definitely a cool experience to be part of.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What's your favorite video game or board game growing up as a kid? What sticks out to you? Or nowadays, if you're playing with your kids now, but
I mean, video game, my favorite has always been the college football games, like the,
yeah,
the, the EA Sports,
yeah,
NCAA
it's
football.
good.
It was my favorite when I was little and actually it's still my favorite now. Like I bought a PS5 and I'm still playing it and stuff. Favorite board game, I like Scrabble. Like that's something I could play with like my mom, my grandmother.
Yeah,
Again, I feel like no matter what age you are or whatever, I think that's a game you can play like with your grandparents. It works for all different kinds of personalities and ages. I feel like that's a good go-to, like a fit all for everybody.
yeah. What's your drink of choice?
My what of choice?
Drink.
drink.
Yeah. Alcoholic or non-alcoholic, either one, or if you want to name
Oh,
both. Yeah.
yeah. I go through different phases where I kind of
Okay.
drink about everything, and
Yeah, yeah.
depends on my setting. Like if I'm like in Hawaii or on a beach, my favorite drink's a Mai Tai.
Okay.
But like I drink during the winter when it's cold, I drink a lot of whiskey. So
Okay.
it's a lot of like whiskey and Coke. And so I kind of vary, based on the time of the year.
Yeah.
And then for the most part, I'm a beer drinker and I
Yeah.
drink just about everything. I'm a beer guy. How about you?
I mean, I like my vodkas, Greyhounds, which is grapefruit juice and vodka. I'll drink champagne, bubbles, if it's there. And then beer, I can go 805 or Corona. Doesn't matter really.
Yeah.
Sometimes IPA, but I don't know. It's whatever. But yeah, I'm not a big
The
not a big wine guy.
is the 805 Chico? Is it where
Mm,
805 where they make that beer? It's an 805 area code, right? Is
yeah,
that
so
kind of
maybe
the
it's up
thing?
there. I'm not sure. Maybe.
I think it's somewhere in California that they make
Yes, I
that
know it's California for
805.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm kind of a Corona guy. Corona's one of
Okay.
my go-tos.
Yeah, Corona with a lime.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
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 Um, Let me ask you this: you got a guilty pleasure?
I kind of feel like the sports cards has kind of been my sort of like hobby
Yeah.
that I am not super like vocal about, but on the
Yeah.
side, like I created like an eBay store and I'm now like, selling the cards online like that are like PSA graded and all that stuff. So I'd say that. The other thing too, I watch a lot of movies, especially like when it gets to like, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night,
Yeah.
my kids are asleep. I'll start kind of flipping around the channels and I'll watch I'll just kind of watch all kinds of interesting like movies and stuff that
Yeah.
just kind of like make my mind go into like imagination.
So you like the streaming that's out now? We got like Netflix and
Yeah, I've
YouTube
got like
TV.
Netflix, Disney Plus. I've got
Yeah.
like the Apple, and also I've got HBO, Showtime,
Yeah.
all those movie channels. I've kind of just gone all in because I like having it all at my fingertips, just
Yeah. Yeah.
knowing that at any time I could go into a library of like 9,000 movies and just like start watching whatever I feel like. It's kind of
Yeah.
expensive. Like I feel like I'm paying a lot for like
Yeah. Yeah.
my Xfinity and all that, but it's also kind
Yeah.
of nice just to have that luxury of watching whatever I want whenever I feel like it. Yeah.
What's your favorite emoji?
That's a good question. I mean, the one that I probably use the most is just like the laughing, crying face.
Yeah.
Like whenever I think somebody says something that I think's hilarious, that's the best one to kind of sum up how I feel about it. The LOL I've always had issues with because I'm a very literal person.
Yeah.
So if I'm not really laughing out loud, I feel like if I type LOL, I'm just lying, because I'm not
Yeah.
really laughing. So
Mhm.
I feel like LOI, laughing on the inside. I do that, but so like I kind of feel like I stay away from the LOL. I do the laughing, crying face thing, but even I guess that's kind of on the inside. But I don't know. Do you have a go to?
I mean, I guess I do the thumbs up a lot, or I do like this
Yeah,
sign to people.
yeah,
Sometimes a rose.
yeah.
It's
Did
a.
you ever see the Emoji Movie?
I did not. Or no, is that on Netflix?
I
Is that on?
recommend it. It's on
Okay.
Netflix right
Yeah.
now,
Okay.
and it's a cartoon type movie. It has a lot of big
Yeah.
name actors like do the voices and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But every emoji has to stay true to their like to their emoji
Yeah.
self.
Yeah.
And the main character is an emoji that just has like an identity crisis and
Ah.
like knows that he's only supposed to be meh.
Yeah.
Like MEH, he's meh, but he gets kind of confused because he starts getting new emotions. But he's supposed to always be meh, and then the movie is like inside a kid's phone
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
uses like the emojis, and he's trying to impress the girl that he likes and all that stuff, and meh starts messing up because like
Yeah.
he's trying to text Matt and he's like all over the place with like a split personality and they make like a movie out of it. It's kind of like Inside Out, like if you've seen those Disney ones, like kind of like how it's inside her head and emotions. It's like the same.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
this thing. These emojis live in the phone. They have one job to do, and this one emoji starts having mixed feelings, and it makes the whole system like go on the fritz, and all the other emojis are angry at him because he's messing up the whole system. It's a good movie. It's a good
I'll
movie.
check it out.
Got some depth to it. Existentialism. What was he born to do? That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: name someone or nominate somebody that'd be a good guest to be on the show. I could reach out to, or someone that you know that I could get on here.
I'm thinking about like people that we went to school with.
Yeah, there's a bunch that come to mind. I'll reach out to some people that would be good guests on here.
Brian Miller.
Brian Miller. Okay.
Yeah. He.
Yeah.
I think he's a dentist now, married, has kids, but he's pretty active on social media, like showing a lot of different stuff. It always seems like he's doing cool things.
Yeah.
Always traveling, going to places, and that's who I would nominate.
Reach out to him. What's up on the bucket list?
I need to do some more world travel.
Yeah.
I've never been to Europe. I've never been to Australia.
Oh wow. I've been there either, so same boat.
I've only been to 3 continents, I guess. I've been North America, obviously, South America. My wife's from Arequipa, Peru, so go there. That's where I got married. So South America, North America. I went to Japan when I was really little, so I've been to Asia, but I haven't been to the other continents, and I've never experienced like Paris or London or any of that cool stuff.
Yeah.
Never been to Africa. Africa's another one I never been to.
Yeah.
Yeah. You travel? You been these places?
No, I've been to Mexico. I've been to the Virgin Islands. I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to.
Did you stay at Atlantis?
No, we went on a cruise and we stayed on a cruise ship and stayed for a couple of days and then try around But I walked in Atlanta. I saw the big manta ray in there. That was kind of cool.
Okay. Cool. I stayed at the Atlantis, the Paradise Island Royal Towers.
Okay.
And it's got all the casino inside. It's amazing. It's like having the perks of like Las Vegas casino life on the inside. You go outside, it's beautiful beach, clear waters.
Yeah, I never.
It's good.
I did Hawaii. That was cool, but I've been to Florida, but I gotta go outside I like to go to like London or England and see like a soccer match, like Man City and Chelsea or Man United.
Cool. I've heard that's amazing. Like they're so passionate out there, and they pack the stadiums. And...
Yeah, I feel like during those rivalries, like for us at sports games, people get up and walk around still, but for those guys, I feel they're all in their seats, like they're not even up getting food. Yeah.
There's not an empty seat. You notice that? Like it's unbelievable. They don't have a single empty seat in those stadiums. It's crazy.
Yeah. So then, how do we follow you and stuff or get in touch? Maybe people want to reach out, get some tickets, or see what's your handles and get in touch with you.
My for work, like my email is kwaters@stormbasketball.com.
Okay.
So if you're interested in coming to a Seattle Storm basketball game this summer, I oversee all the ticketing and all the customer service.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely your go-to guy if you want to try to get tickets, get hooked up with a WNBA game in Seattle this summer.
Yeah.
So that's kwaters@stormbasketball.com. I've got Instagram. I don't even know what my thing is, like my handle.
I think I found you on there.
I think I'm Shark Waters 21.
Exactly, Shark Waters, yeah. There you go.
When I worked for Oregon football, they gave me the nickname Shark. That's where that came from.
How so?
They told the coaching staff there, they gave me the nickname Shark because I helped them with football recruiting. Like I'd hang out with the recruits and then show them around the school and stuff, spend the weekend with them, and then typically after I hung out with them a bit, then they would sign and commit to play at Oregon. Yeah. And so they gave me the nickname Shark because of my high success rate. Just, have Shark hang out with them for the weekend. Yeah. Then we'll, then after Shark's with them for a couple of days, then we'll get the player and the family back in here, and we'll get the paperwork done. You know what I mean? So they also is kind of too a play on they felt like people underestimate me. So it's there's a shark in the water. They won't. Yeah. So they kind of played to an underdog sort of an angle of I sneak up on people with my success based on people underestimating what I will do.
Gotcha. Now, What are some top recruits that you think you might have got to stay because you were there during those years?
To be super honest, like I don't think there's a single recruit that I was solely responsible for because
Yeah,
ultimately I was just like one additional piece
yeah,
to like supporting a player make their big decision. I think it was, it had a lot of variables, but the players I helped recruit were like Jonathan Stewart played running back for in the NFL, played for like Carolina
yeah,
Panthers.
yeah, yeah.
Patrick Chung, he went on to win a Super Bowl with the New England Patriots. But
Okay.
he was a guy I hung out with when he was a DB. You
Were you there
know,
when Dave Murray was there? Remember Dave
yeah,
Murray?
it
Yeah,
was it. His senior year was my freshman year.
got it. Okay, I
And
see him
actually
at
he,
Bay
he played
Club.
yeah he played middle linebacker,
Yeah,
and that was the year my freshman year Oregon finished number 2 in the country. They beat Colorado in the Fiesta Bowl, and a lot of fans thought Oregon should have been in the title game against Miami.
that's right.
So number 2 Oregon dominated number 3 Colorado, and number 1 Miami dominated like number 4 Nebraska. And
Yeah,
I think that's part of the reason why we have the playoff system now, because
yeah.
a lot of
It
fans
was
felt
told.
robbed. Like we never got to see what would David Moretti and Oregon have done if they got
Yeah,
their shot at Miami with Dorsey and those
yeah,
guys. Most people think Miami would have crushed Oregon, but we'll
yeah.
never know.
We'll never know.
We never got to we never got to see it.
Yeah,
That Oregon team had a lot of heart and grit, and like they weren't the
yeah,
most talented team, but they had unique guys like David Moretti that kind of could shock the world a little bit.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, good one. Um, so if you have any questions about real estate, feel free to reach out to me and hit me up. I'm out there and always here to help. See real estate through a new lens. Any final words, Kyle?
No, I just really appreciate you having me, and
That
I
was
wish
good.
everyone the best. And yeah, I just appreciate the time. Thanks for chatting with me.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, so I'll get this process out there. But yeah, we gotta, here we are, we're linking again. But from on the spot, right here.